Hello, gorgeous soul, and welcome to Soul Service Astrology, your update for the week commencing the 22nd of November 2021. Welcome to my channel. I'm Kelx. I'm a 13-sign sidereal astrologer, and I'm also the creator of Soul Service Astrology. 13-sign sidereal astrology is using the placement of the planets, how we can observe them here on the planet, this moment, this lifetime, aka using astronomy to inform astrology. Now you might be thinking, but hang on a minute, Kelly, doesn't most tropical and modern Western, and I'm just referring to Western astrology, do that? No, it doesn't. It does not do that. They are completely removed from what you can see in the sky. About 99% of the mainstream Western astrology that you would find online is talking about where the planets are in relation to the Northern Hemisphere season. And that's because they don't take account for precession, which is the wobble of the Earth on its axis. Soul Service Astrology is a program that I have created for you to learn to become a 13-sign sidereal astrologer using the Soul Service Astrology method. What is the Soul Service Astrology method? It's a technique using astrology to allow you to come back into deep connection with your strengths, your challenges, and start to embody and integrate them in your life so that you can live life aligned to these things, working with them all the time, and so that then you can program the life that you desire to lead and perhaps the service and the business that you want. All right, so that's enough about me. Let's have a look what's going on in the skies for the week, the 22nd of November. I will share my screen and just move a few things around my screen. I am sorry if you're hearing any background noise. I have a construction site next to me. Okay, so there's not a whole lot going on Monday. Now, Monday is after the full moon eclipse, which happens on the 19th of November, and it happens in Taurus. So this week, for the next 2 weeks actually, well, this week is the first week after that full moon lunar eclipse. So you may be still feeling some of those effects. And what's interesting in the chart is there is still some of that Taurus energy from the full moon, from one of the nodes. So Monday, there's not a main aspect I'm going to talk about, but on Tuesday there is. And it is this north node is opposite the sun. So let's have a look at the energy that this presents us. Now, with Soul Service Astrology, the technique, we look to the planets not to predict anything, but to present us an opportunity for some energy that we can potentially shift within our system, our community, or the greater whole. It asks you potentially to step into energies, archetypes, patterns that you're not necessarily used to. And what's interesting with the North Node I link to our mission this lifetime. So we'll all come in with a soul-driven mission. And this can be quite unconscious for a period of our life until you start getting little soul whispers. There's something else for you to be doing. There's something else that you're here to do. Now, typically when we lean into our mission, it's a little bit difficult. There might be things that we haven't done before. We might find it harder. It might be uncomfortable. And we might need to shed some things, shed some layers. And interestingly enough, the North Node is in Taurus, and we've just had the lunar eclipse in Taurus. So this really is still part of this process in the first week after the full moon, where we're really still starting to settle into our energetic state after a releasing and a letting go. And it might have been a big one on a lunar full moon. And there may have been information shared with you as to how to take the next steps towards your mission and to start to build it, because Taurus is the architect. And this is very much earthy, our kind of earthy. What am I building this lifetime? What do I want to create? How can I weave beauty into it? What resources do I need to bring this beautiful vision of mine, this mission of mine to fruition? Where do I need to lean into that maybe I haven't leaned into before? Now, it's opposite the sun down here. in Libra. When we have an opposition, it's like being on a seesaw. So you might be flip-flopping between the energy. You might be like, okay, so this is what I've got to focus on. This is what I've got to do. This is what I've got to shift to get these things done towards my mission. Perhaps there might be some rejigging of your values. Perhaps there is some rejigging of physical resources, namely decluttering. Or perhaps you go, well, I need these sorts of resources. And of course, resources can also be monetary as well. Opposite the sun is our creator. The sun is how our soul really wants to shine. It's our identity and our personality. People have also linked it to purpose and passion. In Libra, there's a light shining on our advocate. So it's not just about us. So Taurus can be really about us. What resources do we need? What do we want? What desires do we have? How can we build this beautiful thing that we want to build this lifetime, this beautiful life? Whereas the sun in Libra is reminding us that there needs to be balance and alignment and harmony with your most nearest and dearest connections, and also society and community. And making sure that we're not taking too much from our society and community, and balancing it with the needs of those close to us. So I feel like this seesaw is a little bit of receiving and giving. So I think if you can feel into that this week, it will help you with the after effects of the full moon lunar eclipse. It's certainly how I'm going to be feeling into it. Wednesday, the 24th, we have the sun moving into Scorpio. So you may have been hearing tropical astrologers saying that it's already Scorpio season. Well, I talk about the stars as seasons. I talk about the planets moving through the star asterism as you can see it on the ecliptic. So Scorpio would be visible. If you could see the stars behind the sun, it would be Scorpio. The sun is our creator. It's where we want to shine a light. It's how we want to shine. In the sign of the shadow hunter. So this suggests that there needs to be a light shone in this area. Perhaps there are some shadows for you to look into, but it's a reminder that as soon as you shine your heart into there, as soon as you shine a light into there, as soon as you bring the light of your awareness and your consciousness to a particular area, perhaps it's in your subconscious, perhaps it's somewhere else in a relationship in your life, an intimate relationship in your life, the fear can generally evaporate. It can start to shift once we put a light there. So what's interesting with the next couple of weeks is that the next new moon is a solar eclipse, and it's going to be in Scorpio. So we've just had the full moon in Taurus, and now we start to have this shift of energy to start to bring into the ideas of Scorpio. Scorpio is the shadow hunter, and it's everything that I just mentioned. We're attempting to transform an aspect of our ego. Perhaps we're deeply transforming an intimate relationship, and that intimate relationship might be with ourselves. So it's a raising of consciousness, and perhaps you need to descend before we ascend on the solar eclipse, which is going to be on the 4th of December. So remember, we're in that 2-week window between the lunar eclipse and the solar eclipse, and you get to play with these archetypal energies. Again, I say play. It's an opportunity. It's not that you have to, and I'm not making any kind of prediction, but you get an opportunity. Perhaps there's something that keeps bothering you. That's usually an indication there's something you need to look at in your subconscious. Perhaps you have been realizing that you haven't been living in alignment with Earth and you've been taking too much, which is very Taurus. All right, so that's Wednesday. Thursday, it's pretty similar. And then Friday, what happens is we get Mercury join the sun in Scorpio. So as I said, here is this mounting energy in Scorpio. So we've got the solar energy there, our creator, creative energy. We're shining lights into areas where perhaps we want to shift and transform some of our creativity, how we express ourselves, perhaps how people see us, You might have to descend before you ascend. With Mercury going there, Mercury is our mind, but it's also how we communicate and our messaging. So we may be communicating in a lot more very serious, intense manner. We might be not communicating. We might be going more inward and really processing any thoughts and feelings that we have about some shifts that we need to make in our subconscious or our ego. Perhaps we have looked at some shadows and so it's best to keep that to yourself while you're processing it. Alternatively, it might be a great time for you to sit with someone that you really, really trust. Someone you know that's not going to hurt you, someone that you can be vulnerable with and let it all out so that you can share your story and purge yourself of anything that you feel is weighing you down or anything that is kind of shadowy. And the key point here is trust. And because you might be feeling a bit vulnerable after the full moon, stepping into this Scorpio energy, knowing that this is where we're headed with the solar eclipse, you really don't want to expose your story, expose something about yourself to someone that you don't trust and can offer you really just an ear that's going to listen to you, because that's, imagine what lots of people are seeking, is to just be heard. It may also be a great time to write or get creative with your story. Perhaps there's an element that you have felt quite shadowy and dark about, vulnerable about, and maybe it's a great time to art it out or to write it out. So that can certainly help around this purging period that we have up until the new moon in Scorpio. So that's Friday. Then Saturday, it's not much different. Then Sunday, we have, is it Saturday? This opposition between the North Node and Mercury conjunct the Sun. So Mercury comes to join this opposition. So we come back full circle throughout the week with this opposition. Okay, so there is a mission this lifetime. I need resources. I want to be the architect of this beautiful life that I desire. Over in Scorpio, our creator, the way we express, and our mind is just making sure that our thoughts and feelings are getting on board. We don't want to wallow. So there's the opportunity over here to wallow in our story, in our pity, in our ego, in our shadows, and not lean into the edges of what it is that we want to create and make the changes that we need to do that, right? So it's kind of, you get on the seesaw and you've got to balance a bit. Okay, so these are my desires. All right, are these ego desires or these really desires that I can resource? And I'm not taking too much from the earth. Am I giving back as well? And I'm making sure that I'm checking in with how I'm thinking and I'm feeling, and I'm checking in with my most intimate relationships, one with myself, but two outwards. Okay, I'm building this thing, I'm using resources, but am I also still expressing myself and communicating the way that I want to? So it's kind of like this checking and balancing week that we have between the lunar eclipse, which was on the 19th of November, right up until the 4th of December when we have the solar eclipse. So that's it for this week. There's not a lot going on in the skies, but the energy that you do have the opportunity to work with presents you this wonderful balance between working towards our desires and what we are creating and co-creating here on this planet in our divine human form, while also checking in with our inner awareness and perhaps allowing it to transform through our spoken word, our written word, and or our creativity. If you would like to hang out with me some more, I have a free Facebook group called Sidereal Stars with Kel. The link is down below if you would like to join me. And I am running a masterclass called Astrology in Action, and that's going to be happening from the 30th of November. You can find the details also on the link below. I would love to have you there. Thanks very much. Have a beautiful week, and I will see you next week. Bye.